Has the world finally made sense in the last 10 years? Of course it hasn't. If anything, it's gotten much, much worse. Let's recap, shall we? Since we last did this, a reality television star became the president. He was then replaced by like a wax fucking dummy of some sort. Billionaires started launching themselves into space for fun and shit posting their way into the White House. AI now scams your grandma on Facebook and makes like sexy workout videos of chicks with Down syndrome because, and this is key, the algorithm doesn't judge, it just optimizes. Meanwhile, the economy, meaning the entire system that dictates whether or not you can afford to eat food or have a roof over your head, became briefly a crypto casino where cartoon monkeys and Reddit mods temporarily ruled the planet in a moment of collective societal psychosis so batshit insane that people 200 years from now probably think we're on fucking mushrooms. I actually was. Oh, and then we had a plague. And our response to said plague was not, as you might expect, a solemn reckoning with our mortality or perhaps a serious restructuring of our public healthcare systems, but rather fistfights over toilet paper at Walmart. Oh, and we're now all addicted to this glowing rectangle of dopamine in our pockets that's like rewiring our brains at a fundamental level, and it seems like nobody gives a fuck. The truth isn't real anymore. Reality is just whoever yells the loudest. And nobody seems to be questioning this, because questioning it would mean waking up. And most people, they don't want to wake up. They want to keep sleepwalking. They want to keep drowning out the existential void with DoorDash and Netflix and porno and TikTok and Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. You know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen. And you do know them, don't you? You never signed up to, but you do. Just like you never asked to know that Pizza Hut's now selling AI-generated pizza experiences, or that Mountain Dew's newest flavor is Voltage Blackout Electric Shark, or the fact that Mark Zuckerberg has the exact haunted, joyless eyes of a Victorian child who perished of tuberculosis in 1894. So, what do you do with a world that doesn't make sense? You stop waiting for it to make sense. You stop trying to control it. You just throw yourself into it fully. No hesitation, no fear. You dance in the fire. 11 years ago, I stood right here and told you that life is absurd, that the universe has no inherent meaning, that the only way to win was to stop playing by their rules, to lean into the chaos and make it work for you. And then, shortly after I filmed that video, I got to live inside my own fucking thesis statement as my company was destroyed. But, I wasn't shocked, because I'd already learned that lesson that most people spend their entire lives running from. Nothing is promised. Nothing is stable. Nothing is fucking real. When I was 15 years old, my dad went to prison. He found out that my mom was having an affair. He kidnapped both of them at gunpoint, and he subjected them to a variety of atrocities that the state of California deemed very unacceptable, let's just say. We're talking about an upper middle class dude who basically never had a fucking parking ticket, who just like snapped. And one day I was a straight A honors student in the suburbs, playing video games on my Commodore 64, thinking that life was like safe and predictable. And then the next day, the SWAT team kicked in the door during dinner and my family was fucking destroyed. My entire world was like annihilated. And at first, I spiraled. I didn't handle it well. My grades went to shit. It was like, homework? Fuck off, right? Like, what's the point? I was an honor student before. I barely graduated. I think they felt bad for me because I was in all the papers and shit. Drugs goes without saying, making bombs in the garage, like a complete fucking free fall into fuck it mode. It felt like being on fire all the time. And then one night, in the middle of all that chaos, I stumbled across an essay. I don't know why I even read it. It wasn't assigned in school. I wasn't supposed to find it, but I did. It was The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus, a French philosopher who looked at all this, looked at life, and said, yeah, all this is fucking stupid, but here's how you deal with it. The essay, it's about a man who is condemned by the gods to roll a boulder up a hill forever and watch it roll back down every fucking time. A metaphor for the human condition, if you will. And Camus, he asks, knowing that life is just this endless, meaningless grind, why not just give up? That's the only real question, isn't it? I was forced to confront this question at 15, and Camus gave me the answer. He didn't say some bullshit like, things will get better. He told me the actual truth. The universe does not give a fuck about you. It doesn't. We're all just clowns marching through chaos, desperately trying to impose order on something that will never be tamed. That war between our need for meaning and the universe's like complete fucking indifference towards us is what Camus called the absurd. You want the world to be just? It isn't. You want life to be fair? It's not. You want to believe in some like grand structure that makes sense of everything? Good fucking luck, because at the end of the day, the world is just noise. Random, chaotic, unpredictable noise. And when you truly grasp that, when you feel it in your fucking bones, you're left with three choices. Option one, tap out and hero. Unalive yourself, as they say on TikTok. And Camus shuts that shit down immediately. Because giving up, that's not a solution. That's just admitting you can't handle the game, so you fucking rage quit. You know, you flip the table. Weak. Option two, you lie to yourself. This is what most people do, right? They pretend. They tell themselves, all of this, it all happens for a reason. They cling to religion, to ideology, to some sort of societal fucking bullshit script that gives them a sense of purpose. They convince themselves, if they just play by the rules, life will reward them. But it's a lie. Because sooner or later, reality is going to crack that illusion. And when it does, they ain't going to be ready. Option three, accept the absurd. And it's the only real answer. You know, you stop demanding that life makes sense. You stop waiting for meaning to be given to you. You laugh at the chaos and you keep pushing the rock. Camus said, the struggle itself is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. And as a fucked up teenager sitting there in my room, looking at that last line of the essay, I finally understood. Life is meaningless, which means you can make it mean anything. No divine justice, no rules, no script, only what you create. And that was the moment that everything shifted for me. I stopped looking for meaning. I stopped waiting for answers. I stopped giving a fuck about why things happened. And I just started pushing the rock. You know, that was the core of the first video. I stood here in this exact spot and I told you, the world is chaos. And you can either let it break you or you can let it free you. You know, at the time, I was just some lunatic running through Mardi Gras, screaming about philosophy over these puddles of horse piss, puke, and beer, whatever the fuck else is in this liquid. I didn't know that a decade later I'd be living the proof again. Because at the time I shot that video in 2014, I'd taken that raw energy from my youth and I made something with it. My friends and I, we built an empire. We ran the fucking game. Sold out venues. Crowds screaming my name as I walked in the room. I'd go into any city in the world and people would come up to me on the street, yo, Jeffy, Jeffy, I love you, Jeffy. We were untouchable until we weren't. One day the world changed. The internet came for us, the media came for us, society shifted under our feet. And suddenly, this brand that we've spent decades building, it was dead in the fucking water. And for the second time in my life, I watched the script collapse. But this time, I wasn't surprised. I lost everything and I didn't fold. Why? Because I never expected stability in the first place. The script I had, I burned that shit myself and I wrote another. I adapted, I rebuilt, and now, here I am, I'm still standing. The only real constant in life is chaos. It's a fucking storm that never ends. And the only way to win is to become the storm. And that's where Camus stops. Accept the absurd. Keep pushing the rock. Make peace with it. Fine. But why stop there? Why not imagine Sisyphus picking up the fucking boulder, kicking it down the hill like it's a football? Why not imagine him walking away from the mountain completely, realizing he was never trapped the entire time? Camus stops at acceptance. Nietzsche takes it further. Camus says, accept the absurd. Nietzsche says, okay, accept it, good, fine. Now bend it to your fucking will. This is what he called the will to power. And it's the difference between coping and conquering. Most people take the world as it's given to them, right? They accept the rules they were handed at birth. They let society, culture, family, government, media, all of it. They let all that shit define their reality for them. And that's why they're weak. They wait for permission, for meaning, for somebody else to tell them what's true. But if you really grasp the absurd, if you really understand that nothing is real unless you make it real, you don't just accept chaos. You shape it. You bend it. You turn it in your fucking weapon. That's the difference. That's the difference between living in the void and owning the void. Camus gives you permission to exist in chaos. Nietzsche gives you the power to shape it. And that's the leap that most people are, quite frankly, too afraid to make. Because once you understand that meaning is a choice, The next logical step is realizing so is everything else. Your identity, your values, your beliefs, your fears, they're all optional. Camus tells you to make peace with absurdity. Nietzsche tells you to dominate it. But if you really want to break the game entirely, you've got to ask the final question, and that's this. What if I was never real to begin with? You ever stop and think how none of this is real? Not just the meaning of life, not just society, but even you. The you that thinks it's making choices. The you that wants something. The you that's afraid. Think about it. Your thoughts, they're not yours, they were given to you. Your fears, installed by a system that needs you to obey. Your entire fucking identity, a costume that you've been wearing since birth. Every belief you have, every preference, every habit, where did they all come from? Did you choose it, or were they given to you? Because if you never question that, if you never even stopped to ask the damn question, then guess what? You're just another NPC in someone else's game. Nietzsche says, he who has a why can bear almost any how. But what if you don't need a why at all? What if real freedom isn't about meaning or power, but throwing out the fucking script entirely? Dropping every label, every attachment, every piece of the character that you were assigned at birth. And instead of clinging to some fixed identity, you just let it all go. And when you do, you don't just become free, you become anything. Just look around. Look at them. They're all trapped in the illusion. They think that they're making choices. They think that they're free, but they never left the cage because they never even realized the bars exist. They never even seen the fucking bars, but you see them. And that means that you can walk out because the biggest joke of all, the bars were never even real. Camus says one must imagine Sisyphus happy. But again, what if Sisyphus realized the boulder was never real to begin with? That this whole shit was just a game. And instead of fighting it or trying to win, what if you just started playing? So, how do you use this? Because right now, most people watching this are at a crossroads. They're either mind blown, or they're thinking, oh, that's cool, bro, but how does this help me pull bitches and run shit? It's a good question. It's a very good question. But here's the answer. Number one, you drop the fucking script. Most people, they're on social autopilot. They play it safe. They follow the script. Fuck that shit. Drop the script. Throw it away. If you want to own the social game, if you want people to feel your presence, the second you step in, you got to stop following the rules and you just got to start playing. Most people, they spend their whole social lives trying to get it. You know? The real motherfuckers, they make shit up as they go along. Number two, stop trying to fit in. You bend the frame. The room doesn't shape you. You shape the fucking room. Most guys walk into a party, they look around, they size it up, they immediately start adjusting to the energy of the room.
Stay the fucking same.
No, wrong, yes. Real ones create the energy. They dictate the mood, the pace. The guys will be like, oh, but the vibe wasn't there. Motherfucker, you make the fucking vibe. You make the vibe. You don't go in there and wait to be told how to act. You know, you experiment, you test the boundaries. Again, real motherfuckers, they bend reality in real time. And once you control the frame, you control everything. Instead of scanning for approval, bring the presence that makes people lock in. Finally, be unpredictable. Be uncontrollable. Be alive. Most people are boring, they're predictable, they're rehearsed. These people get ignored. You ever met somebody who just kind of moves different? You know, they don't behave like everyone else. Somebody who just forces you on an autopilot just by existing near you. That's what makes people magnetic. That's what makes people remember you. Not being nice, not being perfect, not being polished, but being alive. That's what people react to. That's what draws people in. And that's exactly what most people will never dare to do. But by now, you see it. You feel it. You know the world's a game. You know that all these motherfuckers are sleepwalking. And you know that the ones who wake up, the ones who win, are the ones who start bending reality to their will. But again, there's a difference between knowledge and knowing. Because right now, you're standing at the edge, right? You got 1 foot in your old life, 1 foot in the unknown. And most people, they hesitate. You know, they get this feeling that you might be feeling right now, this fire, this momentum, the raw energy of truth, and they just let it fade. They get distracted. They let the gravity of their old self pull them back into mediocrity and fail, the fail dimension. But not you, not today. Because, again, if you feel something shift inside of you while you're watching this, then that's your signal. This is your signal. It's time to act. Nothing changes unless you change it. So here's what's next. Click that link in the description and you can work with me. You can train with me live in person, where I'll take you out into this chaos, break your patterns, and hardwire you for social dominance. And if you can't make it live, I coach online as well. Either way, you will not be the same after this. This isn't some feel-good motivational video, some bullshit self-help dopamine hit. This is real. This is the turning point. Click the link. Step through the doorway. Or don't. Your move. You know, if you made it this far, you got two choices. You can either close this video and go back to your life exactly as it was before, or you can step outside the illusion. Because that's all this is. The world isn't something you discover. It's something you hallucinate in real time. All this shit, it's a consensual fever dream where we all pretend that the rules make sense. And you, the person watching this, you think you're you? No, you are just an algorithm trained on childhood trauma, pop culture, and whatever your crush thought was cool in 7th grade. This patchwork of habits and fears and outdated code running on a meat computer that never agreed to any of this shit. But the thing is, and this is the fun part, you can rewrite the script. Not in this like corny live your truth way, but in the full unhinged God tier realization that if this is all a fucking LARP, you might as well play a better character. So stop waiting, stop hesitating. Because the people who win, they're the ones who don't follow the script. They're not the ones who wait for permission, they're the ones who delete the script and write their own. And here's the truth, the brutal fucking truth. You are already dead. Not someday, not in the future, right fucking now. You're dead right fucking now. You just haven't hit the wall yet, but the clock's ticking. Everything you're afraid to do, every risk you won't take, every hesitation that stops you from being the realest, rawest, most dominant version of yourself, none of that fucking matters. Because in the end, it's all gonna be wiped out. Your fears, your insecurities, your excuses. The universe doesn't care. So why are you still waiting? Why are you acting like you have time? Like there's some guarantee that tomorrow's gonna come. Like you can just keep playing it safe and somehow magically you're gonna wake up one day the person you were meant to be. No, that's not how it works. You either wake up now or you never will. You either choose to become something bigger or you just fade into the fucking background, forgotten. You either write your own story or you become an extra in somebody else's. There is no middle ground, no someday, no maybe later. This is it. This is the moment, this decision, right now. Everything you've ever wanted, every dream, every insane possibility, every version of yourself you know deep down you could become, it's all standing right in front of you, waiting. But you have to step up and take it, because nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to tell you it's time. Nobody's coming to give you permission. You either grab life by the fucking throat and take your shit, or you get nothing. That's the final truth. You know, that's the final black pill. No more theory, no more philosophy. There's nothing left to say. There's only one thing left to do. So what the fuck are you waiting for? The universe is absurd. Life is a joke. Now go make it the funniest shit you ever seen. It's been Jeffy, and I'll see you next time.